It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning and welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this, the 6th day of April, 2023, coming to you from Central Virginia area, Bedford County, right outside of Lynchburg. A couple of announcements this morning, folks, before we get to the main portion of the day. You know, my guest yesterday was supposed to be my really good friend, Christy Durso, who didn't show up. Well, what happened the night before, her back went out and she took some rather strong drugs so she could sleep and slept through the show. So that's okay, Christy. We will reschedule you on your first available day. Of course, she has a nutty schedule. So her first free day, we'll get Christy back on the show so I can talk about her speech before the National Tour Association and her trip to Portugal. Mr. Bucket List and I, all of you are by now know that Justin and I are going to co-host a cruise on May the 1st on the Norwegian Joy, which is a pretty neat itinerary. It goes to Cartagena in Colombia. It goes to Aruba and Curacao and Puerto Plata. It's an 11-day cruise that he and I are co-hosting for the solo group. We are going to do a live stream tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Justin and I will be doing that and inviting any of the folks that are on the Norwegian Joy, or anyone that's just generally interested in hosted solo cruises or hosted cruises in general. And Justin and I will not only go over our plans for the upcoming Norwegian Joy cruise and what we're going to be doing, but also to answer any questions, to field any suggestions if some of the folks that are going to be with us might want to be interested in certain activities or whatnot. It's going to be. I'm so excited about doing this with Justin because we do such similar things on cruise ships and yet such different things. He's going to be doing more of the crazy stuff like the water slides and stuff that I wouldn't get my fat butt in for anything. He's got a bunch of excursions booked. Just last night, I started looking at excursions. Most of them that are available, there's like 83 on this whole cruise. Most of them, they say that it's not suitable for wheelchair or scooter guests, but we may go out and look at things on a little different basis, even if it's from the standpoint of me getting local transportation. We'll see. We could have some a little different viewpoint on excursions by the time we get on this cruise. But we're going to talk about some of the meetups we're going to do, and we plan how we're going to hopefully go hand in hand with whatever the Norwegian Joy folks have planned, which we will not know until we get on board the ship that day. But we'll see. We'll just go over everything. So that'll be at 7 o'clock tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time on Friday evening with Mr. Bucket List and me to talk about our upcoming cruise. And then, of course, later on today is the Cruise Amigos with Amigo John and Amigo Martin. Although I haven't heard from Amigo Martin yet, but anyway, we'll see. Amigo John needs to get out of the house today as he's been snowed in with another blizzard up there for a couple of days, and he's hoping to get into the store today. But that will be after the show. So hopefully by the time the show's over, the plow will have gone through and opened up the roads enough that Amigo John will be able to get into his store. So we'll find out about that at 12:30 my time, Eastern Daylight Time, which is 11:30 Central Daylight Time, and 5:30 British Summer Time for you folks over in Great Britain. So we do have a couple news stories today. Not as many as normal. It was a very light news day. But a cruise guest has been found after a disappearance. In a stunning move this morning, Costa CEO steps down. MSC Seaview Cruises canceled. And Royal Caribbean reduces prices for one of its ships. That and a lot more here at 11 o'clock this morning. Today, folks, is National Fresh Tomato Day. Now, to me, in my mind, it's a little early in the year for Fresh Tomato Day. The tomatoes we get here in Virginia, which are better than some, are still not, they're not fresh tomatoes yet. It's a little early in the season for that. Of course, clearly around here, tomato plants aren't even planted yet. Maybe some are. But the tomato crop comes out of Florida and works its way up the East Coast toward us here in Virginia. By the time our tomatoes are ready, about the 4th of July, we've had pretty good tomatoes for a couple months before that, but we haven't started getting really good fresh tomatoes yet. So, but anyway, today's National Fresh Tomato Day, and admittedly, that's one of my favorite vegetables. Tomato, vegetable, or a fruit? I never can remember that one. And quite frankly, and one of the things that I've been doing lately is trying to limit bread. So instead of fixing a sandwich, which I've always been a sandwich guy at lunch or fast food guy, which is equally as unhealthy. I've been enjoying a lot lately doing things like maybe a good scoop of ham salad or egg salad or chicken salad or tuna fish. I like tuna fish too. And a slice of tomato, maybe with a little onion or something like that. Or if there's any veggies from the night before at dinner, I'll use leftover veggies with that and just have a sandwich without any bread. So I'm trying to limit bread, folks. And quite frankly, I don't mind telling you that I'm actually under 280 pounds. And I'm still a big fat man, but I'm under 280 pounds for the first time in 24 or 5 years. So that and a lot more water is working. So at any rate, that's on a personal note. If you're listening via the podcast, you can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcast from. Just search for travel and cruise industry news, and up pops the fat travel guy. So, and anytime if you're listening via the podcast and you want to hop over to take a look at the pictures or clips or videos we might be using on today's show, you can always go to the description of the podcast, and there will be a link to the video feed. And you hop over to the video feed. Like today, one of our family last night, Gretchen, up there in Ohio, was kept out of bed and went to a Springsteen show. I would have done that too. And that's Gretchen's crew at the Springsteen show last night. Always good to have little clips like that. And probably, knowing YouTube, they'll do a copyright strike and won't give me any of the advertising revenues from today's show. But what the hell? Who cares? So, all right. I'll be back from the people that make my life on cruise ships possible.
Do you have a bad back, bad hips, bad knees, or any other mobility issues? Think about Scootaround. For scooters, walkers, wheelchairs, even oxygen needs, delivered right to your cabin. Scootaround for all your mobility needs on your upcoming cruise.
You know, I've been using Scootaround scooters for almost 9 years now. I've been on a lot of cruises in my lifetime. I've been on 84, I think it is now. And probably I've been on 40 or so, 35 or 40 that I've used scooters. So if you have any kind of mobility challenges, folks, from like me, I can still walk a few feet. I can't do enough walking to get on a cruise ship. But, you know, maybe up to 20 yards I can walk as long as I have my oxygen. But if you're struggling to walk the way it takes to walk to get on and off cruise ships, just call Scootaround. It's not that expensive. I've always figured it as a cost of my cruising. And of course now, I've not been dishonest about it. They are one of my sponsors. I don't make any cash, but I've had 5 cruises now that they provided me with the scooters. So they're great people to work with. I've used them literally since the day when I realized I could no longer walk the amount of walking it takes to enjoy a cruise. And I've enjoyed them ever since. So there's always a number, folks, to call. Use my SRN number if you'd like. I'll make a little bit of change on that. But if you need a Scootaround, by all means, call Scootaround if you need a scooter. Great folks. All right. We'll be back with today's news after a quick word from one of our network sponsors. And today's top story, folks, is it's kind of an odd story. And quite frankly, I am not using the person's name in this because all of the facts are not out on this particular situation. And there's still some possibility of some backlash. So I have chosen not to use the person's name, But Celebrity Solstice arrived in San Francisco on Sunday for an overnight call after departing Los Angeles on the 1st. That would have been Saturday. The San Francisco Police Department asked for public assistance locating a missing cruise ship passenger. A passenger on board Celebrity Solstice sailing on a round-trip cruise from Los Angeles failed to return to the ship on Monday after an overnight call, and the alert was issued. Since then, the woman has come forward and is safe. Police received a call about 6 p.m., an hour after the cruise ship was scheduled to leave port, reporting a guest missing. A photo released by police shows her sitting wearing headphones and her backpack strapped to the front of her body. A woman telephoned the Central Police Station to report the incident. Her location was unconfirmed at the time. The reportee last spoke and or saw the woman. The San Francisco Police Department Special Victims Missing Persons Unit led the investigation. At this time, there are no known imminent risk factors associated with the incident, and there is no evidence of foul play. It's unclear who was with the passenger during her time in San Francisco and who reported her missing at the time, although the reporter was described as a woman. So who knows what happened on this situation. I felt it best to stay out of it, but it had been in the news. So I had to at least mention it today. The other outlets are using her name. I've chosen not to. So that's the way I handle it. There was a major breaking news story this morning, however. And this, for the last, 6, 7, 8 months, there's been rumors about Costa going over. Is Costa going out of business? What's happening with Costa? Especially after Carnival, who owns Costa Cruises, transferred 3 of the ships, or are in the process of transferring 3 of Costa's ships over to the Carnival line. Of course, that would be the Luminosa, which is already sailing under Carnival, the Venezia, which will be sailing later this year, and the Firenze, which will be moved over next year to Carnival. The trade press reported this morning that Michael Tham is no longer CEO of Costa, citing an announcement from Josh Weinstein, the president and CEO of Carnival Corporation, the parent company of the Costa Group, which encompasses both Costa and AIDA cruise brands. Mr. Weinstein stated that Tham had departed from the company with immediate effect, and the role of Group CEO will not be filled by anyone else. I found that odd. Instead, Mario Zanetti, the current general manager of Costa, will assume a primary role and report directly to Carnival. In addition, AIDA Cruises has also experienced a change in leadership, with Felix Eichhorn, the current executive, being promoted to a new position. Weinstein acknowledged Tham and Eichhorn as 2 executives who have successfully guided both Costa and AIDA toward achieving outstanding results. Tham had joined the company as CEO in 2012, shortly after the Costa Concordia tragedy, and is credited with revitalizing the brand's image after the incident. Before his role at Costa, Tham served as president of AIDA from 2004 to 2012, overseeing a new build program that expanded the fleet by one ship each year from 2007 to 2013. He played a key role in developing Germany's mainstream cruise market since 1993 and positioning AIDA as the market leader, contributing to Germany's emergence as one of the top cruise source markets globally. Now, quite frankly, the events of this morning are not going to do anything toward dispelling any rumors about Costa. As a matter of fact, I think they're going to add to them now, especially since they're not replacing the CEO. To me, that doesn't look good for the line and its employees, who are probably now all in a tither, and rightly so. The Carnival needs to clarify what's going on. I mean, I haven't heard the rumors that AIDA is going out of business. But man, there's been a lot of rumors about Costa. So Carnival needs to get out in front of this now, and let's make it known what's going on. All right, the next story today has to do with MSC. MSC announced the cancellation of multiple cruises scheduled for April 2023 due to the extended shipyard stay of the MSC Seaview in Malta. The company is now working to accommodate affected passengers. The dry dock period for the Seaview was supposed to be just 2 weeks. However, the timeline has now more than doubled. The cruise ship arrived in Malta on March 31st, that would be Friday, following its last voyage, which concluded in Barcelona 2 days prior. The ship was initially scheduled to spend 2.5 weeks in dry dock before resuming cruises on April 17th in Genoa. However, the nearly 5-year-old ship is now facing longer than expected repair times. This has led to the cancellation of 7 cruises, with guests being informed by MSC Cruises about the changes of their plans. During the shipyard period in Malta, technical and inspection work was planned for Seaview. It is not clear what the exact issue is that is taking longer, although several online sources mention extensive engine work is being performed. The cruise ship's sister, MSC Seaside, suffered engine problems in July last year, forcing the vessel into dry dock for repairs. That was one of the Azipod issues of last year. The canceled cruises include those departing from Genoa on April 17th, 24th, 4th, and May the 1st, from Civitavecchia on April 19th and 26th, and Palma de Mallorca on April 21st and 28th. MSC Cruises is working to accommodate affected customers and provide them with alternative options for their travel plans, while also providing them with onboard credit to be used on future voyages. MSC Seaview is now expected to resume operations on May the 3rd, departing from Civitavecchia 2.5 weeks later than initially scheduled. The Seaview will spend the 2023 summer season cruising the Western Mediterranean, and then in November, jump down to Brazil to spend the winter months sailing in Brazil. And finally, In a story you don't hear very often in the cruise world today, Royal Caribbean has reduced the prices for cruises to the Caribbean on one of their ships for the 2024 season. Grandeur of the Seas will sail to the Caribbean from Tampa and Miami in 2024. The cruise line has lowered prices to these cruises and now start at just $268 per person. From Tampa, Grandeur will offer a variety of 4, 5, and 7-night cruises to the Western Caribbean and the Bahamas. The 4-night cruises will visit Cozumel, while the 5-nighters will also add a stop in Grand Cayman. Some of the 4-night cruises will visit the Bahamas and the cruise line's private island of Perfect Day at Coco Cay. From Miami, the ship will sail longer Caribbean cruises that will range from 9 to 12 nights and allow the ship to visit ports in the Southern Caribbean, Central America, and South America that aren't available on 7-night cruises from Florida. Grandeur of the Seas is one of the most intimate Royal Caribbean cruise ships, which carries just 1,992 passengers at double occupancy. It's also one of the ships that I have not sailed on in the Royal Caribbean fleet, one that I have tried to schedule twice before. And one of those was to Cuba that got canceled out. So that has now been promoted up my list of things to do in 2024 over and above some of the hosted cruises that I'm planning on doing next year. We'll see. So that's yet to come. All right, that's going to wrap up the news portion of today's show. Let's jump over into chat room and see who's fussing at me today and what I've done wrong, which is nothing unusual. Hot Air Tom is with us. There's Gretchen. Thank you for the clips, Gretchen. I'm surprised you're up this early. I know you went to bed quite late last night. Carol's with us. Hi, Carol. Amy's here. Bread is my big downfall, too, especially on cruises where they have so many kinds. Well, I tell you, Amy, I have done pretty well, not quite as well on cruises as I'm doing here at home. I do like to have my lox and bagels on a cruise. But I've been doing a fairly decent job of staying away from pizza, other than doing a pizza review on a cruise. Sandwiches, I try to stay away from. I'm eating way less things like burgers and dogs than I've done in the past. So it's helped. And actually, the last couple cruises I've gone on, I've come off the cruise without gaining any weight at all, not even a pound. So that's been helpful. Of course, everybody knows I ended up getting sick right after the last cruise I was on, which has nothing to do with my weight issue. But anyway, I'm tickled to be under 280. That's terrific. And maybe by this time next month I'll be under 270 or 275. Way back when the orthopedic doctor refused to replace my knee, that's been 8 years ago now, when I had started using scooters, because a good bit of my problem has to do with my bad knee. But he would not replace the knee because I was too fat. I've never, and his line was you get to 275 pounds and we'll replace your knee. I never got there. I never got under 280. I got in the 280s, upper 280s a couple times. And I varied anywhere from there up to like 340 at the highest. So I'm pretty excited about that, guys. I have to tell you. Hot Air says, what is your weight goal to qualify for the knee replacement? Now, it was at 275. Now, my knee replacement might be under different circumstances now because of, the oxygen situation. I don't know. I haven't been to the orthopedic guy, since I have become an oxygen user and gone through chemo and gone through, cancer twice. And now I'm on a chemo drug. So maybe the next time I have a nice long period of time at home, which I hope not to do anytime soon, but maybe I'll work on getting an appointment with the orthopedic guy and sitting down to reinvestigate that. Congratulations on the weight loss. Yeah, I'm, don't get me wrong, folks. I'm still a big fat guy, and I'll probably always be a big fat guy. But I like the way this is the direction this is going. Tom, do you even know how many cruises you've been on? I doubt Hot Air Tom does. Nikki's with us. Cindy's with us. Kenneth's with us. Hi, y'all. NCL had a press release a little after 9 a.m. announcing the company would be adding 7 Starlink systems to fleet ships for testing by the year end. That would be installed on the new ships coming out. That can't come too soon. The Breakaway, of course, was the first NCL ship to test out Starlink, and it worked marvelously for 8 million vloggers that were on that. The Breakaway. That said the Breakaway, didn't it? I don't know. Anyway, on the Breakaway, that was the ship that they tested it on originally, and it worked really well for us when we were giving it its paces. From NCL, Viva Oceania, and Regent 7 Seas. I guess my Solar ships will not see the system this year. Well, you just don't know at Hot Air Time. It depends on their location and how they've ordered it through Starlink, and how Starlink's flowing this increase in business, because there's a lot of ships that are going to this system now. So, although we do cruise on the Joy in November, December, so fingers crossed on that. I would say that's a really good ship. I was going over the Joy floor plan last night. The Joy's a huge ship. So I may have been on one that's larger, but I have a feeling this is going to be one of the largest ships I've been on. Maybe 2. I don't know. I'd have to look at the stats on how it compares to Seascape and how it compares to Symphony of the Seas. But man, it's a pretty stout ship. So now, because I'm trying to figure out where we're going to be meeting with people with Justin and I, and where we're going to have meetups. Of course, some of that's going to be controlled on what Norwegian does. So we'll have to wait and see. Cindy says, I cruise on Bliss in March 24, Escape in October 24, and Viva February of 25. Hope we have Starlink. For sure on Viva, and I would guess Bliss would be one of the early ones. Don't know about Escape. There's an excellent possibility that I'm going to be on, is it Escape? Yeah. I may be on Escape in December. That one's not definite yet, folks, so don't jump on that one yet, but there's a good possibility that I'll be doing Escape in December. Anybody book MSC World America yet? Just booked it for April 2025. Looks gorgeous. No, Cindy, I have not. However, I will take a look at that. After I did the story, when I did it about a week ago, I need to look at that, and I haven't had the time yet. World Europa was very nice. It was docked next to us in Dubai or Abu Dhabi. I sailed Grandeur in 2006. Yeah, more Tampa cruises. Well, I don't know, because I'm going to be doing that very itinerary to the Southern Caribbean May the 1st on the Joy. But there are some really nice itineraries out of, and I know you don't want to hear this, Sin, out of Miami that are a little longer than the short ones out of Tampa, which, you know, we've all done multiple cruises out of Tampa. However, I also have to figure on going and visiting Elizabeth, who I didn't get to see this week. So I got to do a Cozumel. I got to do a Cozumel real quick so I could get my Elizabeth fix out of the way. And I missed her for 3 months. I was in Cozumel, 5 times while she was gone, I think. So, at any rate, my November, says it's hot air time, by the way. My November, December Joy back-to-back has a number of price decreases. I've called twice to reprice. Last week it was $700 and $800. Saving the first time it was $250 and $300. That's nice. Chillie will need to inspect the ship closely when he is on it. I'm wondering, since it is going to dry dock in January, if something is in bad shape. As far as I know, hot air, that is just a every 3-year regularly scheduled normal dry dock. Just, you know, replacing some carpet and doing some paint work, and you know, mostly nothing that I know is wrong. It's just purely a refreshing refurbishment. I recommend Atkins diet shakes for breakfast and lunch. Doing that, I went from 275 down to 245. Wow, that's pretty good. I normally don't do any of the canned diet kind of things because I can't make myself stay on them because I'm gone. So, constantly. So, Gretchen says, that's good, Tom. Hey, Emma's with us. Hi, Emma. I joined the conversation. The first thing I hear is I'm a big fat guy. Well, you know, Emma, I'm a big fat guy. I'm just not as big a fat guy as I was last week and the week before. But yes, I'm still a big fat guy. And when I see you, my dear, when we actually sail together, I'll still be a big fat guy. Love Emma to death. Congrats on your weight loss. Thank you, Carol. Hot Air says 1 celebrity cruise and 23 NCL. I would have thought, Hot Air Tom, you've done more cruises than that. Good heavens. We were on Bliss about the same. Joy has no thermal area in the spa. Yeah. That's one of Justin's favorite things to do on a ship, too, is the thermal spa. So, but he's got a lot of other things that he'll be doing on Joy. You know, the cars, not bumper cars, whatever the hell his cars are called, and the water slides. I told him he can put his fat butt in one of those water slides. I'll be happy to film it, but this fat butt's not getting in a water slide. So I might get in the cars, though. I mean, I can drive around in circles if I can get, well, we'll see. We'll see on how my accessibility is going to be on this next cruise if I am looking at changing some things, but we'll see. Gretchen says she would have guessed more too. I really thought Otter Time that you had been on more, but that's that's still a nice length of itineraries. Cindy says I'm leaving out of Miami in just over 2 weeks. Carnival Horizon, Havana Cabana. Oh, that's cool. We need lots of pictures, Sim, because I will be just before I head out for Miami on the 1st. I am going to drive. I'm not going to fly on this one. I'm going to drive down and hopefully park at the cruise port using the handicap facilities at the Miami cruise port. Is my intention at this point. My only issue with Tampa is flights. America has direct flights daily to Miami, JetBlue to Orlando, but Tampa is only Breeze and they don't fly every day. That's what I found. It was a little different schedule. So at any rate, I hope to, if I do, I don't mind driving to Tampa, just like I don't mind driving to Miami. So I take 2 days on each side of the cruise. Of course, I like to book more than one cruise while I'm away, which is always a possibility. I'll have to see who's sailing out of Tampa the next time I've got an opening and Grander is there. So a Hot Air says, let's hope no Azapod problems on Chillie's cruise. Yeah, of course not. And of course, Emma's laughing at me. Cindy says, hey, Emma. Emma Cruises, congrats on your Captain Hudson Award. Nice project. That really was, Emma. I like that a lot. Of course, I like Hudson a lot too. So, and I like Emma. I love Emma to death. So, love you too, Chillie. Yes, she says. Thank you, Emma. The upcoming cruise is number 39 for me. NCL, Royal Caribbean, and Carnival. Gretchen says, wow, 39. Yeah, I'm at, I'll have to double check, but I think Joy will be 85 or 86. I can't remember anymore. I mean, I'm getting old, folks. You know, the memory banks aren't what they used to be. I have trouble getting out of those race cars. If you get in, it might be for the remainder of the cruise. Now that would be a trip for me to get stuck in the go-karts and have to somebody bring me dinner. Don't no bread. Bring me a steak. And I'll eat it out of my hands. Yeah, that would be funny. I realize that might be an issue, hot air time. But actually, what I'm looking at is in my Alaska cruise in August. It's looking more and more like I am going to be able to get on a whaleboat and to be able to get to Michelle Phillips' Iditarod kennels with the puppies, which will be a totally different experience for me to actually be able to do some excursions. But again, we're trying to take what I'm going to be doing up there and transfer that to what I'm going to be doing next month on the Joy. So we'll see. We'll see, folks. Hot Air says on the Joy, we're booked JetBlue to Orlando and we'll take the not opened yet Brightline to Miami. Hope they get it done in time. I will have to get Chillie hooked on Brightline, only $7 today to park in West Palm. Yeah, I'm aware of that. And the only reason I want to do one out of the terminal is just to check out how far it is for the handicapped parking, because I have permanent handicap plates now. I am allowed to park at any of the cruise ports in Florida. Not so on all cruise ports yet, but in Florida I am. So I want to test that out, so I'll be able to let my handicap community know in case they are in similar situations. But anyway, that's coming up ahead. So stay tuned for that. All right, that's going to wrap me up for today, folks. Again, we got Cruise Amigos coming up shortly, in about 45 minutes. So come back and join us for then. I'll get a link out here shortly on the Cruise Amigos for later today. In the meantime, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today on this show. I'll see everybody back here tomorrow on Friday Travel and Cruise Industry News. So as always, guys, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. Have a fantastic day, everybody. See you later for the Cruise Amigos.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.